Before Anakin Skywalker joined the Jedi Order, before the death of Qui-Gon Jinn, and before the Clone Wars, another story took place. It's a tale that, in many ways, emulates the main saga, providing important insights about its coming conclusion. This story is about Master Yoda's discovery of a Force-sensitive mountain and the children who lived in its shadow, locked in a conflict without end. It begins when Yoda follows a disturbance in the Force to its point of origin, an uncharted planet with two warring societies of children, the Mudwhackers and the Rockhawkers. It was the Mudwhackers who used their stone power to send a distress signal across the stars. They feared that the war would consume what little stone power they had left. They believed Yoda to be the prophesied deliverer, one who would destroy the Rockhawkers. Yoda's journey led him into the heart of the mountain, where he discovered, with the aid of an exiled Rockhawker named Garo, that the mountain was in fact a living giant. You see, these giants once roamed the world, but humans, greedy for the stone power, warred with each other for the right to control them. The giants retreated, trying to escape the greed of the humans, but even as they entered the earth and became mountains, their bodies were chipped away at in endless conflict. When Garo and Yoda exited the mountain, the Rockhawkers demanded to know what they had discovered. Yoda refused them this knowledge, stating they weren't ready. But Garo, eager to be viewed as a leader for his people, divulged the secret. Immediately, the Rockhawkers began meditating, and the giant was brought under their control. The dark side is strong, and consumed by the emotions of the Rockhawkers, the risen giant became a vengeful creature, filled with hate and anger. He set out to destroy the Mudwhackers. Yoda, with the aid of the Mudwhackers, was able to use the Force to wake the remaining stone giants, who rose up from the earth and destroyed their corrupted kin. With their weapon gone, Yoda was able to broker peace between the Rockhawkers and the Mudwhackers, ending the war once and for all. The parents of the children, who had fled into the mountain for fear of their children and to escape the war, were finally able to return to the world. In the future, Luke Skywalker was able to travel to the same planet with the aid of Ben Kenobi's journal. Shortly after arriving, an older, bitter Garo confronted him. He explained that Yoda's arrival caused everyone to leave the planet in pursuit of curiosity and exploration, and as the people left, the stone giants became smaller and smaller. Garo sought to kill Luke Skywalker and use his life force to slaughter the remaining stone children and become the supreme master of the remaining stone power. Luke's selflessness persuaded Garo to give up on his selfish pursuit and instead release his stone power by becoming one with the dead giant. With this sacrifice completed, Luke Skywalker allowed the remaining stone children to lead him to the heart of the giant, where he was able to get it pumping again. I hope that, without me even saying anything, it is easy for one to see how this story is essentially the main saga condensed into a much smaller scale. The Deliverer is like the Chosen One, the Mudwhackers are like the Jedi, and the Rockhawkers are like the Sith. The Mudwhackers believed the Deliverer would destroy the Rockhawkers, but it was much bigger than that. The disappearance of the giants as a result of the war and their sudden reappearance is a direct parallel to the dormancy of the cosmic force and the subsequent awakening seen in Episode VII. This can be seen as a brief historical summary of the Force, the Jedi, and the Sith that explains the current state of affairs. In their constant struggle over mastering the Force, the Jedi and the Sith have chipped away at its essence. This is dangerous because life is the Force, and the Force is life. Ben Kenobi, in his narration of this tale, stated that whether or not the planet survived was dependent on the people's willingness to give to it rather than to take. Supreme Leader Snoke is likely playing the role of the older Garo, someone who seeks to use the blood descendant of the Chosen One to gain mastery over the rest of the Force. The consequences of such an action line up with the Father's warning on Mortis. The very fabric of the universe can be torn asunder. It was only through Garo's sacrifice that there was any hope. The power he had selfishly accumulated needed to be returned to its rightful place, those immense giants who are larger than humanity itself, who are beyond our political or religious differences and self-prescribed reasons for needing to use the Force rather than accepting it as part of us. Applying this to the sequel trilogy is an easy task. The Force is most in its natural state when mortals leave it alone, instead of using it for their own selfish purposes. This is likely why Luke Skywalker says it's time for the Jedi to end. And like Garo, one or more of our heroes in the sequel trilogy will have to make the decision to become one with the Force, releasing their power for the benefit of all. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. As always, thank you for watching.